Now, for once, a positive story about one of the state's detention centres. After 7 years sitting empty, Riverbank at Caversham has received a facelift, with the renovation carried out not by tradesmen but by offenders. Now the new look centre is set to be used as a training complex to help get offenders of all ages back on the straight and narrow. Rebecca Boteler has the story.
It might look like just another day at work, but these men are actually working off their debt to society. The paint job is part of a $2 million overhaul of the Riverbank detention facility at Caversham, east of Perth. Over the past 12 months, the former prison has had its roof replaced, its workshops and classrooms renovated, and its grounds landscaped, with much of the work being done by offenders. The Department of Corrective Services sees it as a win-win situation. It gets free labour, while the offenders get to work off their community service hours and pick up valuable skills in the meantime.
They can sort of like get a bit of a feel for it, and if they like it, they might want to go on from here and say, well, maybe get a job as a brush hand or look at an apprenticeship. Once your brush starts drying out, just put some more paint on it.
The work goes on under the watchful eye of master painter Michael Campbell.
I was a little bit nervous, I guess, when I first started. And that was just ignorance. I didn't know who I was working with, etc. So there was a little bit of nerves there.
For a facility that's been sitting empty for the past 8 years, all this activity is a big turnaround in its fortunes. Riverbank was originally built as a juvenile detention centre in 1960 and housed up to 40 offenders. Its most famous resident was AC/DC frontman Bon Scott, who was reportedly incarcerated here for offences including stealing petrol and escaping police custody. In 1998, Riverbank began operating as a maximum security facility, housing mainly intellectually impaired adult offenders.
People were selected very carefully to come here because, again, it was about trying to rehabilitate and trying to support those that were the most vulnerable in the prison system.
That support often stretched further than the walls of the prison. For this former inmate and prison officer, it developed into a lasting friendship.
So you're still doing your bowling? Yeah. He's a likeable bloke. Cheeky as, but a likeable fella as well.
Greg McKeag worked at Riverbank for 3 years. He says the prison was run very differently from other facilities at the time, with the staff trying to help prisoners gain social and practical skills.
And what we actually ended up doing was just changing the paradigm of prisons and how they operated. But by choosing our prisoners, we could focus on their individual needs.
For Neville Springett, being incarcerated at Riverbank ended up being a life-changing experience. The officers helped him get a job at Good Samaritan Industries before he was released.
We came and did a tour of the place. We showed Neville, we got permission for him to come out here and look. And that was the start of it. And 10 years later, I'm still blown away.
And while the facility helped prisoners like Neville Springett in the past, the plans for the future of the facility are to help more offenders get back on their feet.
Particularly in terms of the workshops, woodwork, metalwork, the kitchens, the laundries, and use them as an opportunity to build the employment skills of the offenders.
Once the initial refurbishment is complete, the department plans to use the workshops to teach offenders technical skills so they can make things, including toys for charity groups.
Just further off the edge, that's wonderful.
While for these offenders, the facility has already given them a sense of achievement.
The satisfaction of them achieving something and the smile sometimes when they finish something and they walk through and say, wow, I've painted that gives me a warm fuzzy.